usually relies on a type of worm, generally red wrigglers. This is my vermicomposting bin. Let's take a look. We'll see them at work. It's full of paper, veggies, some fruits, and a bunch of worms at work. Oh, I know it looks a little creepy with all these worms, but they're staying close together to stay warm. It's very cold out this time of year, and in order to work, they use each other's warmth. They're eating or decomposing all of this waste and working hard. When this bin started, there was absolutely no what looks like dirt. It's actually worm castings in there. It was just vegetables. So all of the brown stuff you see wasn't there when we started. The worms like to hide deep down in the dark. They really don't like the light. I'll bring one up to show you so you can see it nice and close. And we'll watch what the worm does. Let's take a close look. Oh, there's two of them here. So you'll see they're going to try to hide from the light. Now look and see. Do you see any eyes? Where is their mouth? They eat all of this decomposed material, but I can't even see a mouth. I wonder how they get all that material through that long body of theirs. Oh, look, that worm's trying to get back down into the darkness. He says, "Get me out of this light." It's so cool to see them up close, isn't it? Worms are so interesting. Let's learn a little bit more. Do they have eyes? They must be able to see in the dark. And I wonder, do they have teeth? They eat so many things. What about their length? How do they pump blood through their long bodies? Do you think they have more than one heart? Well, let's take a look at this image. I see a mouth. I don't see any teeth and no eyes, but I see 5 hearts all in a row that must pump throughout their body. I wonder what else. There's a thing called a gizzard that's generally used to grind food. Maybe they use that instead of their teeth. Look how much of the worm's body is made of the digestive system. This must be what makes them such good decomposers. They digest all of this rotting food. They add a little bit of this wonderful nutrients to it and make it into incredible castings. Look at this. A worm will eat half its weight in a day. That would be like a human being eating 360 hamburgers in just one day. Can you imagine? They are incredible decomposers. Did you know that in most worm bins, there are other little creatures that live along with the worms? You'll have another sheet that teaches you about the other friends that live, but if you look closely in this image, you can see some of the tiny little mites and other creatures that live with the worms. See if you can find any of those animals on the page that you have along with this. For a worm bin to be successful, it must be moist, just like you see this worm bin, but not wet. There has to be bedding for the worms that absorbs some of the moisture, like newspaper or straw, sometimes ground up leaves. And then you add other things like rotting fruits and vegetables. Even coffee grounds can be added. You'll see in a minute, we'll look at what we call the worm cafe or the menu for a worm bin. Remember, it shouldn't smell bad, it should only smell fresh. There should be good drainage in a worm bin and air holes so that air can circulate and all of the animals can have a good environment to live in as they do their job. Here's the do's and don'ts. Check it out. Only small quantities of things like citrus, onions, garlic, breads, and pasta. You should feed things like vegetables, fruits, eggshells, tea bags, coffee grounds, and you can see the bedding listed there. You should never include anything oily or greasy. Human or pet waste is not okay. Anything that won't degrade like plastic, no yard trimmings with pesticides, and anything fatty or poisonous. Keep it safe for the worms. Let's take one last look at something interesting. I know you always wonder what this little ring is on the worm. This is where the eggs are stored. Did you know a worm can have an egg with up to 20 teeny little babies? And if they're in a healthy worm bin, they're going to be laying eggs and increasing the population of the worm bin very quickly. Here's an image of an egg. It's teeny tiny. Now, let's tuck everybody in and close up the worm bin so that they can go back into the darkness just like they like it. Hope you create a worm bin soon.